August 15th, we're going to start with Chant, Mahalla Panjwa on page 79.
In our last sitting, we were Are we settled down yet? In the last sitting, we were looking at Chant Mahla Chautha, in which there were 5 Chant, and the metaphor was about husband and wife, indicating the relationship between the Jivistri and the ultimate creative force. And the parallel was drawn that just as in the physical dimension, if the husband and wife do not have the characteristics which will make the relationship comfortable, happy, enjoyable, then they are not able to stay together, they fall apart. In the Indian tradition, the woman ends up with the parents' house in such circumstances. That metaphor is extended in the spirituality, that if the human wife does not have the qualities and characteristics that can be admired, accepted by the ultimate creator, husband of us all, then he ends up sending the wife back to the parents' house, which is this planet. Why is that called a parents' house? Because it is here where we meet Guru, who plays the role of father to teach and train the human wife, develop the characteristics so that when the human wife goes to the other dimension, she has the characteristics which will be acceptable to the husband of us all. Now that was the summary of the last 5 hymns. So now, having told as to what should be done, why it should be done, and if it's not done, what is the end result, now the topic shifts slightly and starts convincing the self. Having heard from the master, having heard from the Guru what needs to be done, the human wife now is talking to herself and saying, now start doing something. Don't just listen and talk. So this series of Chant are now making a promise to oneself, and that's why they are related next to each other. So 5th master takes Shri Rag Mahla Panchwa Chant, Man Pyareya Jiyo Mitra. Look at the way it's being addressed. It's very significant because this line will be repeated, these words will be repeated all through these Chant. First 4 words, pay attention to them. Man Pyareya Jiyo Mitra. Why is that? why to address the self in this way. When we were doing Freedvani Shalok, we touched this subject briefly at that time. Let me refresh your memory. Farida, jo tੈ ਮਾਰਨ ਮੁਕੀਆਂ ਤਿਨਾ ਨ ਮਾਰੀ ਘੁੰਮ ਆਪਨੜੇ ਘਰ ਜਾਈਐ ਪੈਰ ਤਿਨਾ ਦੇ ਚੁੰਮ. The traditional translation of this shloka is very, very strange. Traditional translation is, O Farid, if somebody tries to hit you, do not hit him back. Instead, go to his home and bow to his feet, kiss his feet. Now, listen to the words again and see if this makes sense to you. Farida, jo tੈ ਮਾਰਨ ਮੁਕੀਆਂ ਤਿਨਾ ਨ ਮਾਰੀ ਘੁੰਮ ਆਪਨੜੇ ਘਰ ਜਾਈਐ ਪੈਰ ਤਿਨਾ ਦੇ ਚੁੰਮ. Apanade means your own home, not somebody else's home. First. Second, why would anybody want to beat a saint up? Third, why would the Sikh philosophy be a pacifist philosophy? None of these things are true. Shloka literally means Jo tੈ ਮਾਰਨ ਮੁਕੀਆਂ. Who is referring to? When you go on the path of bhakti meditation, your Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar, your karmindriya are going to fight with you. They're going to resist. They're going to come back and they're not going to accept what you're trying to do. So now, if you start fighting with them, then you lose the energy. If you want to get inside you, you have to compromise with them. You have to treat them nicely because they are part of you. You cannot divide yourself and set up a division. I am conquering my karmindriya. Oh, wait a minute, how can you do that? You already have set up the stage of you versus one part of you versus the other part of you. You're never going to succeed. So getting angry, frustrated, mad with your own self because something you're trying to do and it is not getting done, the way to solve that dilemma is not to get more angrier and get more frustrated and start resisting it and start fighting it and start pushing it back. That's not how it's going to happen. So he said, well, how does it happen? And he answers by saying, Apanade ghar jaiye, pair tinande chum. If you want to get inside yourself, make friends with them. See how metaphysical meanings and physical translation, literal meaning, how different they are? Look what is being said and what is being preached. Because I can assure you that when you sit amongst your peers of other systems of thought and then you say Guru Gobind Singh taught the Sikhs to defend themselves, they will immediately come back to you and say, well, what happened to the Farid Shalok? Didn't you hear Farida said, no, you actually are supposed to kiss the feet of your enemy? Now, no saint, no meditator is a defeatist. It cannot be. They don't initiate the conflict, but they don't run away from it either. That's what Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji is saying, Bhai kahu ko det nahe, nahe pe manat an. A very, very powerful and clear-cut message to the follower. Don't initiate, but that doesn't mean you submit. Learn the balance. Don't attack, but that doesn't mean you cannot defend. Buddhists did the same thing. That's why I keep on reminding all of us, the entire science of martial art is a answer to those who are trying to suppress Zenism, Buddhism by force. He said, we will not attack you, but we will defend. We will use your anger against you. That's why all of these arts, judo, karate, all of these are called defensive arts. They are not offensive arts. So, what is happening to us today? Man Pyareya, Jio Mitra. I'm going to talk to you not as your adversary, not as your enemy. I'm not trying to lecture you. I'm not trying to dictate you. This is not a parent telling a child, thou shalt do it because I said so. That's a parental edict. In a meditation, parental edict doesn't work. That's why when our Guru says something, what does he say afterwards? Take it if you like it. It's your life. It's your destiny. I have told you the truth. You can accept it. You can partially accept it or completely reject it. But the words will always be in this tone. Man Pyareya, Jio Mitra. See the significance of these words? If you just run away and read it and path kar liya, bar kita ja raha hai, then you will say, this is very strange. Ithe kya jaya man Pyareya Mitra te uthe kehde hai man khoteya. Now what's going on here? Understand the significance of this addressing. When Bani says sadho man ka man tyago, let's resist the temptation of standing in the line of sadho. We haven't become sadho yet. That word is at a certain level being said. Baba man matvaro, naam ras pive. I am not the Baba. Baba is some other level. Birtha kade na hovai jan ki ardas. Jan is some other level. Not every human. Similarly, addressing the self, not in a judgmental. That's why we always repeat, mind has a habit, a long ways away, God knows how many, as Gurbani says, janam ki is man ko mal lagi, mal. How much? The kala hoya sya. So much impurity has been deposited on top of it, and the metaphor used there is khanali dhoti. कहते खलनी जड़ी है, खलनी किसनू कहते हैं? I have shared that thought with you. When you want to take mustard seed, जिन्हों से कहने जब तेल कढ़ना है सरों दा, वो जड़ा कोलू है जड़ा तेली है, so that part that is rotating and there is a center rod to hold it, what happens that as it grinds the seed, the finer dirt and dust and the oil keeps on collecting near the center. So if you don't do anything with it, eventually it will jam the pot. Rotation will become difficult. So what they normally do is they take a piece of cloth, is khadr kehne, rough. So that absorbs that oil and that dirt. And that's called khanli. So what normally is done, that cloth after a while is taken out and just thrown out and put a new one. Why? Bani says, khanli dhoti ujli na hovai, je sau dhovan paha. जो दुनिया आम तरीके जानती है वो गल बननी नहीं. That's how the quality of the mind is described. So if you are going to change the mind, if you are going to change the thought process, if you are going to initiate any revolution inside you, can you ever cause it by setting up an adversarial relationship? The one you want to change is the self. And if you start condemning the self to start the process, you are no good, I'm going to change you. Guess what? Oh, you think I'm not good? Wait till I really show you my face. That's not how you address the change. That's not how you effect the changes. How you effect the changes? Man Pyareya, oh beloved, Jio Mitra, oh my friend. To do what? Gobind Naam Samale. What an amazing statement. Now, word Samale is translated in all of the literature as Sambhale. I would like to share with you the other meaning of this. Samalana is a state of being. When we were doing the Rehras, we talked about it. So dhar keha, so ghar keha, jit beh sarab samale. So that creative energy doesn't only take care of us, right? Sambhale is to create, to sustain, and to destroy. Right? That creative energy does all three of them. That means the word samale is not just to sustain. It also contains the other two elements. So what does it mean to us then in this line? Man Pyareya Mitra Jiyo, Man Pyareya Jiyo Mitra Gobind Naam Samale. ਇਹ नहीं कि शब्द ਨੂੰ ਸੰਭਾਲਣਾ ਹੈ, ਨਾਮ ਨੂੰ ਸੰਭਾਲਣਾ ਹੈ, ਨਹੀਂ, ਨਾਮ ਜਪ ਕੇ ਸੰਭਾਲਣ ਦੀ ਅਵਸਥਾ ਤੇ ਪਹੁੰਚ. That's your ultimate destiny. Get to that state where samale. What is that state? The state in which that ultimate creative energy is. Start the process to become one with one. Man Pyareya Jiyo Mitra Gobind. You are going to become a Gobind yourself. Start the process. Get going. So what is the relationship of this statement with the first hymn that we did last time? There it was husband-wife relationship. Okay, now you have understood it. Now get going. Man Pyareya ji Mitra har nibha tere naale. Why again I am reminding you? I am reminding the self, me reminding myself, saying why this need to be done. This is the only characteristics that transition between two dimensions. Everything else that you will do in this dimension will not transition with you. Isn't it? Think of anything that you can take with you. I'm not talking just physical, I'm talking about even the non-physical. The information that you collect, the knowledge as you gather, the relationships that you develop context that your network that you have. I mean, the physical example is very simple to see. Okay, I cannot take anything, money or wealth or furniture, etc. The dimension crossing characteristics is what? If you get to the stage of samale, it automatically goes with you. Nibhe tere nale. Nothing else. Nibhe the stage then. Nibhe, what is? It's not that nirbha. Utve jiya bagane at tiya pakato sa bagane potanal kiro sa. तो मेरे को कहना चाहिए ना मुश्किल हो या तरह नहीं पिज़्ज़ा लाया होना बिकॉज बद्धा चट्टी जो परे ना पुण्य ना उपकार बद्धा चट्टी if you are doing under anything that you are doing under compulsion, under helplessness, it neither gets you the credit of any service, nor it is helping the other. So, get into the stage of where you can say, Man Pyareya jiyo Mitra. Now, if you start doing every action of your life with this statement starting, then watch the quality of life changing. Think about it. If we meet everybody with this, somebody is coming, Man Pyareya jiyo Mitra, aj duja Mitra aa raha. Receive him properly. Deal with him properly. Look how much revolution comes in. So, these are, pearls of wisdom, little nuggets. That's what Kabir used to say, Kabira, har hai khand ret mein bikhri hasti chuni na jaye. The real truth is what? It's just a little kernel of sweet scattered in the desert of sand. And you have to literally know and pick them. Hasti chuni na jaye. An elephant cannot do anything with it. Who's the elephant here? Egotistical mind. Kaho kabir gur bhali dikhai, chinti hoye ke khaye. Who's the chinti here? The egoless person, who will delicately separate out the sand and just pick up that little piece. But in our mind, what is the image? We are thinking of elephant's trunk and the little, right? That's what we are thinking. Isn't it? Oh, yeah. But that's not what it is saying. Those are the metaphors. Those are parables. They are hinting something. संग सहाई हर नाम ते आई बिरथा कोई न जाए मन चिंदे से ही फल पावे चरण कमल चित लाए. If you get on that path, this is the process that will get kicked into gear. Which one? Sang sahai har naam dhyai. Spend the life in the memory of that ultimate creative energy, Hari. Why? He's already there with you. The fact that your eyes are closed doesn't mean he doesn't exist. You need to wake up from that tendency of वो शतुरमुर्ग जिहड़ा है उस धौन दबा लैंदा अपनी रेत विच ते बिल्ली गई. That's what the human mind does. I have seen this. As a matter of fact, only this week I was visiting Denver and I was pointing out something to the manager that this is going to become a problem. And so he looks at me and says, well, it's not a problem right now, is it? I said, no, it's not right now. Well, okay, then we'll cross the bridge when we reach it. And I smiled inside myself. I said, wow. You want to solve the problem when it is created rather than avoiding the problem to be created in the first place. You don't want to take the precaution, which is what our habits are all the way. I see in business, I see in, right? अजय ते जवानी है जी, खाओ पियो मजा करो, जो बुढ़ापा आएगा देखेंगे. Isn't that? Right now, why to remember God right now? This is the time to enjoy the physical pleasures. And let's postpone it. And Gurbani reminds you, say, what are you doing? Sang Sahai, sang with you all the time. You know it. When you sit down in your sane moments, you always say that, yep. Guru mere sang sada hai naale. Yep, that's right. God is everywhere. Yep, all pervading. Yep. Now when you are going to do this, did you remember that the God is with you and watching you? Now, so what did I remember? Let me see if, anybody looking around? No. Policeman there? No. Okay, fine. What happened to the one sang Sahai? Never even inquire. Never even occur the thought. He says, stay with that meaning. Sang Sahai. Remember him. Har naam dhyayi. And those who are in birtha koi na jaye. Universal promise. This is one thing. You can do other businesses and you can make the investment and you may get the result or you may not get the result. Or you may get the result that's different than what you anticipated. But this is one investment which would not be wasted even an iota of it. Even a fraction of it.
What do you think it is?
But that's the whole point. If you are sitting next to a Chinese and you try to talk to him, he doesn't understand your language, right? And when he talks to you, you don't understand the language. So what's going to be the end result? No result, right? Mm-hmm. Now let me tell you what's going on there also. Othe sach varatda kudyara chit udas. He only knows the language of truth. Your language is completely non-truth. So the two people sitting next to each other trying to talk and they are not able to connect. Why? Because the language is not known. So learn his language. That's what Gurbani says. Sach ki bani nanak aakhe sach bulaye si sach ki bela. And those who are insisting on this, वो की ਹੁੰਦਾ ਫਿਰ ਉੱਥੇ ਸੱਚ ਵਰਤਦਾ ਕੁੜਿਆਰਾਂ ਚਿਤ ਉਦਾਸ ਉਹ ਵਲ ਛਲ ਕਰ ਝਟ ਕੱਢ ਦੇ ਫਿਰ ਜਾਏ ਬਹੇ ਕੁੜਿਆਰਾਂ ਪਾਸ. Even when those people are brought in a company of where the truth will be talked about, then they start looking at the watch right away. ਉਹ ਵਲ ਛਲ ਫਿਰ ਪਾਸੇ ਵੱਟ ਦੇਣਾ ਕਦੋਂ ਖਤਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਗੋਡਾ ਥੱਕ ਗਿਆ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਤੈਨੂੰ. When he's going to stop? And then what? ਫੇਰ ਜਾਏ ਬਹੇ ਕੁੜਿਆਰਾਂ ਕਰ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੋਈ ਸਮਝਦਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕੋਈ ਝੂਠ ਦੀ ਹੈ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਯਾਰ ਕੰਨ ਖਾ ਗਿਆ ਆ ਕੋਈ ਚੱਜ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਸੁਣਾ ਕੋਈ. So all those things that you're talking about, okay, we did that but never got accepted. Bani give you the answer. Because in his world, our kartoot sagli jamdane gobind bhajan bin tel nahi mane. तुसा भजन तो किया नहीं गल्लां जरूर की. I agree with you. You prayed a lot. You talked a lot. You wished a lot. But that's not what is his language. He can't accept it. So change the language. Here is the language being given to you. What? Sang sahai, har naam tyai, birtha koe na jaye. If that is what you're doing, then it's not going to be wasted. Man chinde se phal paave, charan kamal chit laye. See that now? ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਦਾ ਜਵਾਬ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਨਾ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਚਿੱਤ ਲੱਗਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਚੀਜ਼ ਮੰਗਣ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਨਹੀਂ, ਉਹਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਹੀ ਦੇ ਜਾਣੀ। ਮਨ ਚਿੰਦੇ ਸੇ ਹੀ ਫਲ ਪਾਵੇ, ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਹੀ ਫਲ ਮਿਲ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ। ਕਿਹੜਾ? ਚਰਨ ਕਮਲ ਚਿਤ ਲਾਏ। The one who is with him, we used to say ਕਿ ਰਾਜੇ ਦਾ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਪਕੜਿਆ ਕੁਝ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਹੀ ਜਾਏਗਾ। If you have got him, he's going to give you something. But you never make that relationship, the one that is communicating with him in that level. Jal thal poor rahya banwari ghat ghat nadar nihale, nanak sikh deh man pritam sad sang bhram jale. So why you have been doing what you have been doing? Here is the answer of that. It's a bharam. Because of your misunderstanding, because of the doubt that this is what the rest of the world is doing, so let me start doing, even knowing that the rest of the world is not getting what they want. They have, everybody has the same complaint. Hey, we do this, we do that, but nothing happens. Knowing that, you still start doing the same thing. And then you join the club of those, well, yeah, we do everything, but nothing happens. And Gurbani says, Jalathal poor rahya banavari. Both on the earth and under the water, it is the one energy, the same energy. Ghat ghat nadar nihale. And he is inside everybody and watching it. Nadar means to see. Nihale means with a concentration. Focused mind. Everything is known to him. Nanak sikh de man pritam sad sang bhram jale. Get out of those conflicting words from your mind. Param kad apane do. So that, and how will that happen? Sad sang. Get into the sangat where you can get these type of doubts removed. Man Pyareya ji Mitra, har ben jhoot pasare. O mind, O my friend, rest of pasara means the expansion. Rest of the expansion is foundation is what? Jhoot, not the truth. Mithya, the illusion, transitory. Man Pyareya jo Mitra, bik sagar sansare. If you do not listen to this, what's going to happen? What does bik means? Poison, bitterness, unpleasantness, distasteful, which we experience almost every moment of our breathing life. Only today I was just sitting and I was observing myself. Sitting on the table, Diwan Sahib has put some little peda sweets over there. So I couldn't resist. I picked a half of that. As long as it was on the tongue, it sounded good. As soon as I felt so empty. And I was observing, I said, wow. क्या नजारे दिखा रहे हैं गुरु देखे it doesn't matter how good anything is, it only feels good while you are in it. The moment you step out, it is such a letdown. So what is the tendency of the mind? Had I not observed that, what do you think I would have done? I would have grabbed another one. Honey? If the mind is not alert, what does it do? Oh, मिठा थोड़ा जा चल रहा सी, मुंह मिठा सी, हुण मिठा खाली हो गया, no more sweet, get another one. And बैठे बैठे भाਵੇਂ सारे पेड़े खा जाता मैं उधर. And it doesn't matter how many I eat, the end result is still the same. Think of any pleasures that you can imagine in your life, including the highest pleasure that humanity knows is the sexual pleasure. End result is the same. Every one of them. And that's what Gurbani is reminding us. Bin har jhoot pasare. It is all illusionary. And you experience it every moment, provided you are alert. Right? Provided you are in a meditative state of mind, the life will teach you right away. Gautama was in a state of meditation that he did not need a long lecture from anybody. One trip around the palace and 3 instances and he's gone. No need more to listen, no more to see. I am going to go find the state of existence where none of these 3 things exist. And we face it every day. ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਸੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਉਹੀ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਪੋਤੇ ਪੋਤਰੀਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਉਹੀ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ we just don't want to know it now we don't want to talk about it now we don't want to face it now why because then we can't enjoy the company and I want to live in that illusion and enjoy that company the same way I don't want to call this a kood I don't want to call it a jhoot I love my grandchildren. I can play with them when I want and when they become difficult, I give them to their parents. I say, go take care of them. I have best of the both worlds. I couldn't do that with my children. See how we justify the trap. And Bani tries to wake us up all and say, मन प्यारेया जियो मित्रा बिक सागर संसारे चरण कमल कर बोहत करते सहसा दुख न ब्यापे गुरपूरा भेटे वडभागी 8 पहर प्रभ जापे चरण कमल कर बोहत करते बोहित the treasure that creator karta stay focused. He is the one who is treasurer of everything. So, what should you do? Don't go from one person to the other, then the other. Just stay focused on Charan Kamal. Sirf usde charna vich take ja. Which is what, when I shared with you the example of Freed, that was the message he brought to his village when they said, go tell the king to open his treasure and distribute some food because there has not been enough rain and the crops are very meager. So he went to meet the king and then came back. The villagers asked him, did you talk to him? And he said, no, I didn't. So why? So well, I was walking by his palace and through the window I saw him doing namaz. And so what's wrong with that? He said, no, in namaz he has his hands up and was saying, Allah, my treasure should never be empty. And I said, well, he himself is a beggar, why go to a beggar? Well, if he's asking Allah to have the treasure always filled, why don't you guys also ask to Allah rather than going to the king? Now, when we hear a story like that, I say, see, this is the guy who we should ask the question, ਰੱਬ ਨੇੜੇ ਕੇ ਸੁਣ। ਰੱਬ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੀ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਮੀਂਹ ਵਰਾਂਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ। That's the bharam. That's the bharam. Because those who are focused on him would never even have that complaint. They will be like that Sufi cult who says, oh God, I know and you know that there is no food for the last 3 days for me to eat. You know better than I do, because probably my body needs fasting. And since on my own I am never going to do that, thanks for helping me. The whole quality will change. And it sounds to us extremely ridiculous. What kind of logic is this? But such is the nature of the Creator. Such is the nature of creation. He knows what to be done, when to be done, where to be done, how to be done. Well, and we are going to go in circles again. Well, do you mean why shouldn't I do anything then? No, it is not. That's not the message. Well, you're having it both ways. Very smart guy, aren't you? Now, these are not my arguments. These are the observations of those who have become one with one and brought the bitter truth. And by our arguing about them, fighting about them, denying them, nothing is going to change. But if you try on accepting them and following it, something might change. But if you keep on resisting it and fighting it, nothing will change. That's what the saint says. You are literally punching in air. Nobody's getting hurt other than losing your own energy. So stop that and do what? Charn kamal kar bohit karte sesa dukh na beyape gurpura pete vadbagi aath pahar prab jape. Now you will be surprised that in Islam, the whole idea of a 5 namaz while you are awake from sun up to sundown literally meant this: every 3 hours remember it. And instead of remembering him, they made it into a ritual and have turned it into one of the most vicious system of thought that I have observed around the world in my lifetime. It's such a sad commentary. Aad Jugadi Sevak Swami Bhagta Naam Adhare Nanak Sikh De Man Pritam Binhar Chut Pasare. See that the word why Guru Nanak used Sikh? Nanak Sikh De Sikhya. Sikh nu nahi hai. Sikhya. Advice. Learning. What is the learning? Binhar Chut Pasare. Isn't that amazing? Why is that learning? Because we have been taught exactly the opposite. The world is real. We even have quotations on it. Dekhya sach sunaya jhoot. Don't we say that? Ji ਅੱਖਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਵੇਖਿਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ, ਕੰਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਅਫਵਾਹ ਉਡਾਈ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ. And Gurbani says, ਨਾ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ, ਨਾ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ. ਦੋਨੇ ਝੂਠ ਨੇ. It's just an illusion. And so, since we learned it the other way around, now Guru is trying to teach us, unlearn what you learned before and learn the new hypothesis. It can be learned. It is possible. It has been done. All of the mystics did that. We can do it too. मन प्यारिया जियो मित्रा हर लद्दे खेप सवली. खेप की होंगे ये हुण सारे फॉर्मिंग वर्ड्स ने सारे पेंडां दे. मेहनत करके जो इकट्ठा किया होया खेप. सवली मीन्स प्रॉफिटेबल. मन प्यारिया जो मित्रा हर लद्दे खेप सवली. If you are trying to do something profitable, then let me tell you the business that is always profitable. But we're going to have a hard time accepting it. But it is a reality. मन प्यारे जो मित्रा हरदर नेचल मल्ली. नेचल. We say this child is very chanchal. चंचल वर्ड बनया चल चल तो भजा फिरदा उन्होंने कहते चंचल है. नेचल जेड़ा कभी भी नहीं चलता. Never moves anywhere. Who is that? That one creative energy. मन प्यारिया जो मित्रा हरदर नेचल मल्ली. Sit down, accept somewhere where which is not subject to chal, subject to change, subject to move. One that is nehechal, that never moves. Hardar seve alka bheve nechal asan paya, tah janam na maran na aman jana sansa dukh mitaya. Why I am advising you this? Here is the reason for this. Hardar seve alak abheve. Alak means the one that cannot be counted. Abheva means the one whose secret can never be deciphered. Nature means the one never moves. Hardar seve alka bheve nature asan paya. If you get on that path, you will become one with that who has these characteristics. And then what's the end result? Tah janamana maranayamana jana sansadukh mitaya. Then the cycle of life and death is finished. Chitra Goput ka kagad Pyareya. Now, here is a mythical reference. We have a belief system in India that there are two angels, one on each shoulder. One documents the negatives, other documents the positives. And at the time of the death, they both take their notes and present into the Dharmarai, who looks at that, and then based on the balance of the two, he decides for your destiny. Sikhism doesn't believe in anything like that. So there is no such thing. These are metaphors. Chitra literally means the bar that is visible. Goput that literally means that is hidden inside us. Because we always are two. What we do outside is different than what we are thinking inside. Let it sink. Every action has two sides to it. What's inside is different than what's being done outside, or what's being said outside, or what's being expressed outside. And what do we hide behind? Political correctness, social nicety. ਅੱਜ ਹੁਣ ਕੀ ਕਰੀਏ, ਉਹ ਝੂਠ ਤੇ ਬੋਲਦਾ ਪਿਆ, ਪਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਮੂੰਹ ਤੇ ਥੋੜੀ ਕਹਿ ਦੇਣਾ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸੱਚਾ ਹੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਉਹਨੂੰ. ਦੇਖੋ ਜੀ, ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕਰੀਏ ਸਾਰੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦਾ ਦਿਲ ਟੁੱਟ ਜਾਏਗਾ, ਕੰਮ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੱਲ ਸਕਦਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਪਏ? Okay, fine. Accept that's what you are. That's what Chitra and Gupta is. So what is going to go with you? Not what is Chitra. Chitra literally means Chitra, bar jo display kita ja raha hai. What's going to go with you is what is Gopat. It is the intention, it is the intent behind that is significant, not the execution. That's why all of the so-called holy acts, चाहे वो दान है, चाहे वो सेवा है, चाहे वो कुछ भी है, जाप है, चाहे वो पूजा पाठ है, all of that is the outer manifestation and has zero significance. What is Gupt inside? That has the real meaning. So what happens to them? He says, forget about both of them. If you can get on where Hardar Seve Alka Bheve Nechal Asan Paya, if you get to that stage, Tah Janamna Marana Amana Jana Sansa Dukh Mitaya, you get to the ultimate stage where Chitra and Gupt ka kagad apharya, positive and negative both disappear. That's what it literally means. Because that stage does not have good or bad, right or wrong. That is one, Nehachal. So if it's a Nehachal, what will happen? Chitra Gupt ka kagad apharya. Positive and negative disappears. Jamduta kachu na challi. What's a Jamdut? Not those shown in the movies with a dark face and a horn on the top. That's not what Jamdut is literally means, even though we present it that way. Dut literally means a messenger. Jam means the time. Sama. The movement of the time brings a new message every time, isn't it? Every event unfolds in front of us as the time moves. So what is that? Jam da doot aa raha hai. Samay da messenger aa raha hai. As we step out of the door, there is a message. What is that message? Diwan Sahib ne bahut sona phul laya hai, badi khushboo aa rahi hai. When did that become visible to you? It became visible to you when the time, which is Jam, gave the message, which is Dut. So when you pass through this, travel through the time, you get messages. And that's what Jam Dut means. So then the time, effect of the time, kachu na challi. The time has no impact on you. Nanak Sikh de man pritam har ladde khep savalli. Man Pyareya jiyo Mitra kar santa sang nivaso. Find the right company. Man Pyareya jiyo Mitra har naam japat pargaso. The real light, the real enlightenment is with the Naam Japat. Remember here, I can't say that as clearly over there, but look, it's not a Naam Gana. It's a Japana.
Say it over there very loud and clear.
You to gusse ho jate mara le aunde ho sare. Naam Japat Pargaso, Simar Swami Sukhe Gami ich sagal punniya. Purbe kamaye shiri rang paye har mile chiri vichunne. Sukhe gami ich sagali punniya. We get sidetracked by these kind of words very quickly. सारियां इच्छा पूरियां हो जाएंगी, सारियां चाहता पूरियां हो जाएंगी. And we have a unique way of completing all our desires. Right? There is a beautiful metaphor that an elderly lady who was childless went to a saint and said, I have only one desire. Can you help me? He said, of course I can. Anything for you. And she says, I want to see my great-grandchild's wife whose arms are filled with the gold bangles, getting up early in the morning and churning milk. ਆਪਣੇ ਪੜਪੋਤਰੇ ਨੌਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਉੱਠ ਕੇ ਮਧਾਣੀ ਰਿੜਕਦਿਆਂ ਵੇਖਿਆ ਤੇ ਉਸਦੇ ਬਾਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੂੜੀਆਂ ਪਈਆਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਸੋਨੇ ਦੀਆਂ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਝਨਕਾਰ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੰਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਪਵੇ. So now she's old, right? To see all of that, she wants old age, long age, right? She's childless right now. That means she wants children. And she has no money now. If the great-grandchild is going to be filled with gold, then she needs money too. Yeah. But I had only one desire.
You need eyesight, you need hearing.
Right? And क्योंकि मैं सुनना चाहनी है, that means none of the karma indriyas should be weak. The body should be strong. So health, wealth, long age, all packed into a single thing. Gurbani is not talking of that sagale chipunya. That's not what it means. Because Gurbani looks at human journey's one biggest ichha, biggest desire, biggest one, and that is not to come back, to become one with one. That's the only one desire. So if you do that, there's only one desire, that desire gets fulfilled. Sagalichhe punya. It is not trying to feed to your greed, is what I'm trying to say, which is what the normal translator will do. And I'm not saying I'm a normal translator, by the way. Because the mind will jump right away. See, apne apni tareef kar rahe hai ki dujje nu keh rahe hain.
Well, you might think you're abnormal. They think you're abnormal. Yeah, you're not normal. You're not normal translator, because that's how they say it.
That's the problem. No? Normal cannot exist without abnormal, because they are joined at the hip. Purva kamaye, shiri rang paaye, har mile chiri vishunya. That's the ichha. Chiri vishunya. The life cycle has been going on for who long, how long. And when that union takes place, which was said in the earlier chant by Mahela Chautha, then the real marriage takes place. That's what it means, har bichhdeya mele prabhu. And where do we sing it? बिछड़िया मेले प्रभु हम घर साजने आए साचे मेल मलाए ऐसे ਜਦੋਂ ਮਿਲਣੀ ਹੋਣ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਵਿਆਹ ਦੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆਏ ਮੇਲੇ ਚ ਚਲ yeah. ਅੰਤਰ ਬਾਹਰ ਸਰਬਤ ਰਵਿਆ ਮਨ ਉਪਜਿਆ ਵਿਸ਼ਵਾਸੋ Nanak Sikh de man pritam kar santa sang nivaso. So, to maintain your momentum on that path, stay in the company of those who are on that same path. That's what Santa Sang means. Man Pyareya jiyo Mitra, har prem pagat man leena. Man Pyareya jiyo Mitra, har jal mil jive meena. Now here is the metaphor that we keep forgetting. It says, unless your relationship becomes the like a fish has with water, that's the litmus test for you. So what is the relationship of water with fish? The moment you take it out, वो तड़पण लग पैंदी है. There's a beautiful another simile in Guru Granth Sahib about fish. Whether you go catch the fish, bring it home, chop it up into pieces, and then cook it. And after cooking it, you start eating and you grind with your teeth to fine powder. And it's a cold day and it's raining outside and you are sitting home after eating the dinner with the fish, and you would keep on asking for a glass of water. And if somebody asks you, what is your problem? Your first response is, "Machi kha le." Taan pyas lag rahi hai. Gurbani says, look, it has been ground into the powder, but it has not lost its relationship with water. अंदर जाके बैठ के भी पानी मंगदी पई है. It is so much one with that it is making the one who ate it thirsty. And that's what is being reminded. It says, this is not a laughing matter. It is not subject of debates. It's not subject of discussions, arguments, acceptance or rejection. It's a subject of relationship. And the relationship of the kind of fish with water. If you get that, then what will happen? Har pi aghane amrit bahane sarb sukha mano vutthe. Shridhar paye mangal gaye ich punni sadguru tutthe. If that becomes possible, then harpi aghane, you would be really tasting for the first time what? Amrit bane. Now that is Amrit Vela. Amrit Vela sach naam vadiyai vichar hai nahi swere 2 baje uth ke bhande khadkao. Amrit Vela is then when that first time you taste, that time in space, that moment when you first time get the taste from within you, and you'll be surprised how satisfied all parts of your existence will be. Harpi aghane amrit bane sarv sukha man vutthe shridhar paye mangal gaye ich punni sadgur tutthe. With his grace and with your effort, with your naam bhakti bani, you can get to that stage. Ladli ne laye naunid paye now sarbas thakur dina nanak sikh sant samjhai har prem bhagat man leena. So आखिर दे उत्ते ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਸ਼ੰਤ ਚੌਥੇ ਮਹਿਲੇ ਦਾ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਰਿਸ਼ਤਾ ਬਣ ਗਿਆ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਲੜਲੀ ਨੇ ਲਾਏ ਰਾਈਟ ਉਹ ਵਿਆਹ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਨਾ ਪੱਲਾ ਪਕੜਨ ਦੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਲੜ ਲੱਗ ਗਿਆ. Now you can understand the purpose of the word palle tande lagi, not the one we do it. Now you are really holding on the corner of his hand. Ladline lai now nid paye. 9 types of pleasures and treasures. What is that? Because now, his name, his word, now Sarbas Thakur Dina, Nanak Sant Sikh Samjhai, Har Prem Bhagat Manalina. This is what is being told to you. Samjhai. This is what the instruction is. This is what the motivation is. Get into Prema Bhakti Marg. And with that, you may be able to achieve the purpose from which you took this particular birth. So this concludes Chant Mahela Panjma. When we meet next, we will continue Chant Mahela Panjma, but this next Vani would be in Dakhana, literally means Dakhan. ਨਾਰਦਰਨ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਪੋਠੋਹਾਰ
Dakkan will be south.
ਨਾ ਹਾਂ ਦੈਟਸ ਰਾਈਟ ਸਾਊਥ ਯੂ ਰਾਈਟ ਉੱਤਰ ਨਾਰਥ ਐਂਡ ਦੱਖਣ ਸਾਊਥ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹ ਹੱਡ ਮੰਝਾਓ ਮਾਂ ਪੇਰੀ ਪੱਸੇ ਕਿਉਂ ਦੀਦਾਰ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਸਪਸ਼ਟਤਾ ਵੀ ਨਾਲ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਉਹ ਸਿਆਲਕੋਟ ਦੇ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਉਹ ਹੈ ਪਰ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਉਹੀ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਸੋ ਵੀ ਵਿਲ get together 2 weeks from now and continue the journey. Thank you.
We're saying then we can't take anything with us, but are we ये जप जड़ा है does that go with us that earn whatever we earn?
If we fall into the trap of that language, we're going to miss that point. Jap does the
Concentration.
The word I'm looking for is alchemist जिस तरह बदल देते ना quality ਨੂੰ क्योंकि अंदर ਦੀ quality बदलदी है ना जप ਦੇ ਨਾਲ that's what is going with you. That's why the language says jap ਤੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ.
The internal changes.
Yeah. The internal revolution being caused by jap. That's the only thing that accompanies you, the rest doesn't. So, not to take literally as that does not mean कि मैं अपना बाजा नाल नहीं ले जा सकता तो जप के साथ नाल ले जा सकता. That's right, because jap will not go in that sense. Because over there the word does not exist. So jap is a word.
No, but the quality of life.
What it has caused to the inner conscience.
Conscious has
The
stepped up.
right. ਜਿਹੜਾ ਦਾ evolution ਹੈ ਉਹ ਨਾਲ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ.
But sometimes we do have memories. People have memories which they carry from one life to the other.
Right.
So how does that explain that we cannot carry anything? But how does the memory go with you?
We have talked about, remember we talked about these stages. All of that remains at the 4th level. Astral body ਦੇ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਸਾਰੇ memory ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ. That keeps coming back and keep on bringing us back. It doesn't go forward. All memories remain at the astral level. But jap ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ cosmic level तक जाता है, meaning jap is causing the cosmic changes. Physical pleasure drops with the body. Intellectual memory ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਡ੍ਰੌਪ ਹੋ ਗਈਆਂ, ਬ੍ਰੇਨ ਜਲ ਗਿਆ, ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਜਲ ਗਿਆ. ਜਿਹੜੀ ਐਸਟਰਲ ਬਾਡੀ ਦੇ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰਮਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਉਹਦੀ ਮੈਮਰੀਜ਼ ਰਹਿ ਗਈਆਂ. ਉਸ ਦੀ ਮੈਮਰੀ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਵਾਪਸ ਲੈ ਆਂਦਾ, ਫਿਰ ਜਨਮ ਦੇ ਦਿੱਤਾ. To go to the 7th stage, none of these things are going to help. ਇਹਦੇ ਸਰਕਲ 'ਚ ਹੀ ਰੱਖਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ. But jab, if you stay with that, from the astral, it will walk you to the Buddha body, the cosmatic body, and Nirvana body. Yeah.
So what about the ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦਾ ਜਲ ਗਏ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਜਲਦੀ ਉਹ ਖਤਮ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮੈਮਰੀਜ਼ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੜੇ ਕੀਤੇ it decays slow.
Same thing.
You think that's going to be different?
Would there be more astral?
Means that is that.
ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਜ਼ੀਕਲ ਟਿਸ਼ੂ ਦਾ ਰਿਜ਼ਲਟ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਕੰਮ ਤੋਂ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਭਾਵੇਂ ਬਾਡੀ ਦਬਾਈ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਜਲਾਈ ਹੈ, ਇਟ ਮੈਟਰਸ ਨਾਟ ਐਟ ਆਲ. ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਐਸਟਰਲ ਬਾਡੀ ਤੇ ਡ੍ਰੌਪ ਕਰ ਚੁੱਕੀ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਬਾਡੀ ਨੂੰ, ਉਹ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ 'ਚ ਥੱਲੇ ਦੱਬੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ.
ਜਿਹੜਾ ਜਨਮ ਹੈ, ਰੀਜਨਮ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਮਤਲਬ still at the
astral ਤੋਂ ਵਾਪਸ ਆ ਗਿਆ, ਐਸਟਰਲ ਤੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਵਾਪਸ ਆ ਗਿਆ.
Until we go a little further up,
yeah,
that's when these things drop.
Right.